Hello, welcome to Earthmother Starchild. My name's Natasha Astara, and today I'm with Emmaray Kumara, who is the nature whisperer. And I've met Emmaray. I listened to her speak at the Freedom Network conference in East Sussex this summer, and I had the most amazing experience listening to her with so much beauty and resonance in her words. And I'm hoping that today, during our interview, you will have the same experience. So, hi, Emma. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. It's so lovely to be here with you today.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thanks.
So, Emmaray, I would love you to introduce yourself and let people know this amazing work and life purpose journey that you're on.
So thank you. So so I go by Emmaray Kumara. That is not the name I was born into, but it's the name I've been given recently that exemplifies the work service to life that I do, which is the emanation of light rays and codes, which is the name Emmaray. And Kumara is I'm here representing part of the Kumara family of Venus. I am not from Venus, but I'm here working as a part of that extended family of Venus, which is the planet of love, which of course is primarily what we are doing right now on the earth, is restoring divine love in absolute unity with light and this balanced partnership. And we're letting go of all of the duality and just coming into this brilliant polarity of light and love. So my work, I'm a what you might call a conscious channel, but I don't really consider myself a channel. It's more for me that I am just very multidimensionally connected, and I'm always having conversations with the different realms and the different dimensions, just as if I would be talking to you in person. So it's not really channeling, it's just me talking to them. So that allows me to work with bringing in this awareness of the different realms of light, the devic realms, the elemental realms, the angelic realms, the light realms of magic, and the divine alchemy that occurs when we are consciously and even unconsciously working with them. But the mission that I am on, the work that I am doing, is primarily helping the people to connect in with the divine plan, which is fully completed in the causal plane. And each person on the earth is getting their heads up as to their part of the divine plan that comes into the causal body so that you individually can act on that. But the alchemy of doing that is working consciously with the different realms, and who are the ones that create the alchemy of taking the idea, which is the light energy, and bringing it into form, which is the love energy. And all of these realms that have been considered fantastical or non-existent are very real, and they are the weavers of the light into form. And that is what I do, and who I am is I work with them consciously, and I'm teaching others how to do the same.
Oh, this is like magic. I'm listening to magic because this is some of my own personal pleasures about life is that I come from a family who have been like sort of clairvoyant and mediumistic, but they're very linked to the fairies. And so it's been a very natural thing for us as a family, but also for myself to talk to different elemental beings. And it's been like just a natural thing, and it almost surprises and shocks me that other people cannot do this. But as we know, people can be very unfortunately blocked in this area, and that blocking, I think, goes on through a process of childhood and traumatization and all sorts of other things. And so one of my personal wishes is that people can once again have access to this part of them, which I believe is very much interwoven with being a human being.
Yeah.
So I was looking at Emmaray at your redreaming program, and it was very interesting to me to see that you are trying to teach people or remind people how to do this themselves. Could you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the redreaming is a fairly new concept on this level. And it is different from reframing, which reframing has been out in the world for quite a while. But redreaming uh, is when we are actually going into this deep theta state and intentionally accessing, or not re-experiencing, but accessing, connecting with any trauma or anomalies or just energies in our personal past. And also we can do this work on the planetary level where there's been any kind of pain or trauma, which of course in duality has been very common. And so what happens is we put forth this intention to redream that. And the process is that we call and speak with our super consciousness, whether it's personal or a greater collective, and call in the super consciousness to pour and redream with transformational divine love. And what you're actually doing is the super consciousness and transformational divine love plays the roles of every part of what created the original trauma. So all of the players get replaced by transformational divine love, and the energetics get replayed. And what that does is it neutralizes all the trauma and allows this new foundational energy of love to build upon from now forward, which makes it so much easier to step into unity, which is the goalpost of our bringing in paradise and the new earth. All of it is in unity, harmony, peace. There is no fear or trauma. It all gets eliminated, replaced with love, and then we build upon that. So the redreaming program can be used individually. And I'm also being guided, and I will put a plug in that it is for sale on my website. And as more people take the program individually, we are starting to form redreaming circles around the world whose intention will be to redream the entire earth and to redream all the trauma that ever occurred in duality, to eliminate, neutralize it, while we keep the wisdom that we learned so we don't have to replay it, but to eliminate the trauma and allow the unity and paradise to be built way, way more quickly than we would otherwise. So, yeah, so that's the purpose of it.
Oh, and this is much needed at this time. I see, because I think that one of our main blocks to moving into unity consciousness is this separation caused by
Yes.
the trauma. and
Yes.
and I know that in my own journey, I've been healing my own trauma from this life and many other lives and ancestral
Yes.
lives and
Absolutely.
galactic lifetimes. It's all been happening
Yes.
in situ in this space, especially since 2012, and we've
Yes.
seen this kind of speeding up. And I do
Hmm.
feel that this dealing with trauma, finding ways to just like you're saying, bringing love to heal this trauma so that we
Hmm.
can then move into this unity is key. It's like one of the key things of this
It
decade.
absolutely
Yeah.
is. And the thing with the energy of transformational divine love, when you envision that, it's like an iridescent, opalescent, sparkly rainbow, crystalline pink energy. It's the frequency of this energy is as high as it gets. It's on the cosmic level. And so it is the energy that is used to bring light into form and step it down. So it's just incredibly powerful when you do these sessions and you allow this energy to come in and remap all of the trauma in your field. It's just absolutely amazing. And we, again, when we're working on a planetary level, we can go into specific issues with wars, with children trafficking, with damage to nature, with the lies that have been told about the different realms, and that life is just, you know, a static expression. It's not alive in consciousness. All of these things can be redreamed. And so, and then we bring in, as part of the transformational divine love, is the illumined truth. And that comes in with that and goes forward. And so some people will ask me if this is anything like the butterfly effect, where it actually will cause your appearance in your outer world in the now moment to shift. It can, but that is unusual. What it does instead is it allows the cellular memory in your being to go into a place of peace and harmony, so that you're not creating from this place of charge of you know, the other shoe's going to drop, or I had this horrible experience, or whatever. And so instead you're just in this blissful place and allowing to then create from that template of just peace, which is just, again, much more effective. Much more effective. Yeah.
And that's interesting as to how I have witnessed seeing trauma in myself and people that I've worked with, because I've seen it as an interruptive kind of frequency. It sort of interrupts the natural flow. And when you talk about harmony and how everything's kind of unity and harmony, it's a bit like the trauma is preventing that beautiful movement and very natural flow of energy, which then creates its own problems as well, like unwellness and sickness and being stuck in certain vibrational emotions like fear or shame or guilt, or so it's, and you know, this is, for me, this is like the transformational work, so that we can move on to this next stage of consciousness in our beings. So I love the way that you describe the kind of pink cosmic light of divine transformational love energy. And I don't know if you know that I'm a spiritual artist, and I have tried to draw and paint some of these images that I've received through seeing divine feminine energy and love cosmic energy.
Lovely.
And so I know exactly what you're saying when you're describing this to me, and you know, it's like more people to have access to that awareness. You know, I think if they had that expansive capability to receive it and perceive it, then maybe we would be less worried about I don't know, things that we worry about in our lives. You know, it would really open up our consciousness.
Yeah, it's true. It's an interesting thing with our senses, because if you're a really visual person and you're saying, okay, I would really like to see what this looks like, and but sometimes I'm very visual, but I see it more in my third eye as opposed to in my visual eyes, because the frequency is not visible on this physical level. It's just not. Once we're ascending more and fully into the fifth dimension, more of these energies of the sacred fire rainbow, of which this pink energy is part of, will become more visible. But now we get to rely more on our feeling the frequencies, just knowing that they're true. One of the visuals that you can think of as far as this energy is when you see snow and it sparkles. You know, that to some degree, because snow is full of sacred geometry, of course. It's just magic. And so that sparkly in the snow is a hint it's a hint of what this feels like. And then when you're blowing bubbles, if you have kids that are blowing bubbles, that iridescent light will sometimes show up in the bubbles. And then of course there's the rainbows. I mean, if there's anything magical on the earth at all, it's the rainbows. You know, when you see rainbows and connect with that and then go higher with it into these higher planes, you're getting to feel the frequencies that we're speaking about. And they're very real. They're just off the visual spectrum.
Yeah.
So you can go into your third eye. But the main thing is to allow yourself to, what I encourage people to do is to allow your feeling body to develop more fully so that you can feel the energy differences, feel the different frequencies, and just to be aware of that, because that is a very powerful way to be able to communicate and co-create with the energies, is to become more aware of them on a sensory level, so that when your personal energy drops for some reason, you can feel that, and then you can catch it and do whatever is necessary to take it back up again. So that's part of this coming into your expanded senses mastery. And certainly all of the realms that we're speaking about, the fairy realms and elven realms and the angelic realms, they all live in these realms of these higher frequencies. And if you connect with them and start working with your body elemental and your guardian angels and just those who work with you and create with you, they will happily let you know when your energy is doing this a little bit and show you ways to raise your frequency. One of the biggest ways is to laugh and dance and smile and find something fun, that makes you go, oh yeah, baby. And rainbows are that for me. I see a rainbow and I'm just excited. So they always make me smile.
Absolutely. And also flowers, I think, have the connection here. I mean, obviously they're very
Absolutely.
connected to the elemental realms,
Absolutely.
and they hold sacred geometry, and they
Yes.
do hold some of these colors, I feel. If not in the petals, sometimes in the aura around them, in
Yes.
the energy they create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it really is. These energies are absolutely everywhere. And as the light energies are coming in through our solar sun, as when you're tracking the Schumann resonance and looking at these big blasts of light that are coming in, these are all parts of the ascension process, raising the overall frequency of Gaia. And so that it's lifting, and of course chasing out of the darkness anything that is trying to hide, because nothing can stay that isn't part of love and light now. So anything that is not that, in that polarity, the old polarity was the book of knowledge of fear and love, and which is duality, whereas the polarity of unity is love and light. And it's part of the book of life. So when you see the saying love, light, life, it's referring to the book of life, which is all about unity and the truth of the wholeness of all of life. So these are all things that, as we are learning to work with the realms and feel the energies, and we're aware of these big upgrades, and say, yes, thank you very much, and ask for the different realms to help you integrate and learn how to connect with the divas that are here helping you with your particular projects. And who are you on the planet with the technology? The positive AI is so easy to connect and create with people all over the planet.
Yeah.
However, the circle of creation, it is essential at this point for, instead of people just seeing humans sitting in a circle, to expand that circle and have it include the elementals and the angels and the galactic star families and the trees and the animal kingdoms and the crystalline everybody gets to be in the circle, because everybody is part of the cosmic circle of life and very much plays a part of the creative process. And this is the stretch for people now. People have been waking up for a very long time, but even in areas where I've lived, like Mount Shasta and stuff, there's a predominance of people just talking about people, humans still, and not including all the realms. But without the other realms, the divine alchemy cannot occur.
Yeah.
They are the ones who bring it from the light into form. So it is essential for us to learn how to collaborate and co-create with them.
Yeah.
And besides, it's like brilliant and fun. You know, what's not to love about it? You know, it makes it so much more interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you never have to watch television again, you know.
That's true.
So much interesting stuff going on in nature.
Absolutely.
So Emmaray, I'd love to hear about some of your experiences connecting with the elementals and the divas and the different realms. If you're able to share some of your journeys with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, life is really funny for me because of the fact that I am communicating with everyone all of the time. When I'm traveling or when I'm out in nature, the animals come forward and speak with me, and I'll go walking in a forest and I'm immediately speaking to all the tree spirits, and their faces come out and we just have conversations because they know that I see them as just another member of the family. And so some of the things that happen a lot for me, I have a couple of photographs on my website. One, several years ago, it was about 8 years ago, we were having a terrible, terrible drought in the Mount Shasta in Northern California area. Yeah, I think it had been going on for about 2 years. There were fires everywhere. The lakes were just dry. It was really horrific. And so a couple of groups of us, unbeknownst to one another, got together and started working directly with the elemental realms to call in rain. And so this one particular weekend, I was part of a group of 5 or 6 people. And again, unbeknownst to us, there were 2 other groups in the extended area in Mount Shasta who were also coming together. One was one of the indigenous tribes, and I don't remember who the other one was, but we were all coming together. And I was doing calls because I work directly with the elemental kingdoms as part of my soul matrix. It's just part of my divine authority to work directly with them. And so we were working with crystals, we were talking with the elements, and we were envisioning and doing this powerful work of envisioning the rain and envisioning these things. And we did that all day. The next day, it started pouring. It rained for an entire week. All of the lakes overflowed, the fires were put out, and the drought ended. So that's kind of a big kind of example of this, but part of the joy of working with the elements is being able to not just have these mystical experiences where they're leaving you a gift on a rock, or which happens a lot too, where you're walking and they'll leave you a heart rock or something brilliant like that. But our ability to positively affect what is going on in the outer reality, because we as creator beings have the authority to work with the directing activity, which is all these realms, to bring in powerful change, and to be aware that whatever we personally say, think, feel, do affects everything in the outer reality, because it is all responsive to our emotions and energies. So when I go out walking, one of the first things that I do is I call in and start affirming that I am in a state of peace and harmony and unity with life. And I sing and I speak to them. And so after this drought broke, I went up to one of the lakes in Mount Shasta and I was singing to the water. And a lot of us do that. You know, we like to sing. And so I was singing my gratitude to the lake. And as I did so, this beautiful, the water, which of course water is very conscious, formed this enormous heart in the water. It just spread and created this heart. And it stayed there for about half an hour and just held that heart space. And I do have, again, photographs on my website of that beautiful experience. Another experience that I had where when I was living on the Oregon coast and I was being asked to do all this work to help anchor the harmony grids and work with the fault line off that we have, the Cascadian subduction fault line that goes up and down the coast there. And it was very unstable. And so there were some of us who were there on site to stabilize it. And I was singing again, you know, I sing and I was singing in the harmony and singing these things. And one day as I did that, I looked down and there was a big heart had formed in the sand, not by somebody drawing it, but by the water receding from the sand and leaving this heart shape. And again, I have a photograph of that. So these are some of the, yes, we can have these delightful experiences of communicating with the animals and finding brilliant crystals and the plants telling us who they are and what magic they hold. But we also have the ability and are being asked to use as stewards and guardians, our divine ability to positively affect what's going on in the outer realms and free up the elements and the realms of magic that have been being misused from miscreations and bring them into freedom and allow them to be working from a place of no harm, which is their natural state. So these are all things. I work with a group called the Bless All Life Council. And this is an international group, and we do planetary and galactic service. So this is the kind of stuff and doing decrees and this kind of thing. This is probably a little more serious meant than you were thinking of when you asked me that question, Sarah. But you know, it to me, the magic of going out in the realms and having them speak to me, I will say one of the other things that is very practical for people in coming into creation with these realms is when you're planting a garden and you're not too sure what to plant where. Is there a blueprint for your garden? You know, what's the plan? You know, everything has a plan. I would like to tell everybody that there is a blueprint for everything, and because that's what brings it from the light into form. So if you choose to connect consciously with the overlighting diva of your garden or whatever project you're working on, then you will receive this brilliant divine guidance as to how to proceed. And it becomes a collaboration with the different realms instead of you feeling like you're doing it all by yourself. It's so much more fun. But with a garden, the fairies and the overlighting divas will come in and say, this is what to plant where. You know, would you like to encourage the animals? What are you planning on doing? Is it an edible garden? What are the different things? And then you will be given conscious information as to what to plant and where to plant it. And in accordance with the whole topography of the garden and your intention. So these are some of the absolute miracles that happen when you start consciously collaborating and co-creating with all the different realms. Everything becomes a team activity, which for a lot of us is just natural. We'd much rather work in a team than having to do everything individually. So what I will add to that is that we are never alone. You are never alone. You may be the only human standing in the room, but know that you are surrounded by angels and divas and the elemental presence and the fairy realms. And they're all here with us all the time, here to help, here to create, and here to fulfill the destiny of this planet. So have fun with it. It's terrific. So
And this is so apt for our time, isn't it? Because I was thinking that about garden design and people I know who run farms, and sometimes I've said it, you know, at a meeting, or if they've asked me, I said, well, you need to connect with the consciousness of the place and see what that has to say, see how where that wants you to put that barn or that road or that vegetable patch. And I do think this is the next level, because unfortunately we've used our will as an imposing will on the land, and we haven't always, you know, as humans, been very aware or conscious about what we create when we are doing something. And I think this is our next level, isn't it? Really understanding actually everything we create, whether it's a thought or a behavior or a plan to create something in form, we need to have a consciousness of behind it, of what it's creating in terms of harmony, or what it will create as a legacy in the long run.
yes,
So I really
absolutely.
believe that this is our next level to take us into this next stage of evolvement. Although many evolved souls like yourself, Emmaray, you know, are already there, it seems like sometimes we can be solitary voices, and it's about bringing that into the consciousness of the mainstream more.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so essential. And there are pockets around the earth of people who have always known this, certainly a lot of the indigenous ones, and the people that founded Finhorn in Scotland certainly were on that. But it's the biggest piece. And I did a talk about this on Blessed Hall Life this past Sunday, and I have a couple other pieces on my website. But when we are really speaking into Christ consciousness, and that everything is conscious, everything has consciousness, everything has intelligence. And it's not the kind of IQ intelligence where you go in and you take some test and get a number. It's the divine genius. It's the genius, which is the responsive energy. And when we realize that everything is spirit in form, so because everything is spirit in form, that means everything is conscious, because spirit is conscious. And so when you go from that place, then saying, oh, it's just a tree, or it's just a rock, or it's just a dog, or I've heard this so many times over the years from people, it's just a flat of land, you know. No, it's not. We are all part of this huge part of God. It's all God. It's all God in some form. God having a conversation with God and playing in these different fields of reality to learn and grow. So the next level absolutely is the return to us going to the land, working with the divas, saying, show me what is the optimal use of this property. This is what I'm choosing to do. Show me how to do this work with me. And you call in all the realms, the overlights, you have meetings with them. And it's not that hard to do once you open your senses up to the awareness that it's possible. And the big thing for people is to get over the idea that it has to be somebody in this kind of body. Some of them will show up in animal bodies and the plants. You can really go and talk to the wise trees and these things. But when you really start connecting, when Mount Shasta, I was working with a group to set up a big sustainable garden. And one of the places that we were going to do it was at City Park in Mount Shasta, which unfortunately is right by the freeway, has the freeway on one side and the trains going the other way. So there's all the, but it's this incredible area of, it's like a little portal thing from the mountain. But anyway, so I would go and sit on a log in where this, it was about 9 acres of this open space. And I would go into a meditative space, connect with the divas, and they would show me the finished product. They would say, this is what it will look like. This is where the trees go. This is where the this goes. This is where you grow the annuals. This is where you have the perennial trees. This is da 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 da. You put crystals here. You put statues there to help amp up the frequency. They just show it to you. And this is a lot of like what you're doing, Astara, with these incredible paintings that you do. And a lot of the artists over the year where they were getting this kind of surreal artwork, it's because the divine was coming in and inspiring this kind of thing. And one of my absolute knowings about going forward is that all the different schools of activities, all the different systems will incorporate working with the multidimensional teams. And this is for all of you who are aware of Barbara Marx Hubbard's Wheel of Co-Creation. If you haven't ever seen her work, Barbara Marx Hubbard, and it's the Wheel of Co-Creation, which is the wheel of all the systems of life that we create on this planet. But Barbara came to me before I came over to the UK, actually, Astara, and said we would like to collaborate because she's not in a body anymore. So she's energy, she spiritually came to me, walked up to me very clearly, and she said, I will help you bring this to this new level of including all the different realms in the creation of the new divine systems that are all, again, in the divine plan, and they are coming down through people's causal bodies to create. And how important it is for people to realize they're not doing it by themselves. It is time to collaborate with all of the realms to create the highest outcome, because they can create it without the realms, but it will not be the highest outcome.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the biggest thing. We're going for the highest timeline, the most brilliant outcome we possibly can. And one thing I'm being guided to share too here that a lot of people I don't think are really aware of, that this process of going into duality, and that we've been experiencing on Earth for a very long time, was not just on this planet. The entire universe, in it, the making of the universe, a distortion came in, and it caused the whole universe, this particular universe, to experience duality in all these different levels. And the entire universe is being restored to unity. And Gaia is one of the last but most important components, the players of that, because of her essence as the living library and this place for other life to come to learn. And so we have so much galactic assistance and divine intervention going on for Earth, because the whole galaxy is ascending and the whole universe is being brought back into unity. It's a huge, big undertaking, and it's absolutely occurring in a brilliant way. But the more each individual assists by connecting with their God self, connecting with their divine purpose, connecting with the realms through love, we will speed this whole process way the heck up. You know, it'll happen way faster if everybody gets on board and says, this is what we're choosing. We're saying we're done with duality. We're letting go of all of that nonsense. You know, we're just done. And we're stepping into unity and we're going forward. And that's the choice that everybody can make each day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with that if we're all stepping into our own sense of being a creator, a creative force, and also our own sovereignty.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we are really developing that that sense that we are powerful beings and we need to be conscious about how we use it and work together and work together
Yes.
to use it in a really conscious way.
Yeah.
Wow, this is just such a wonderful interview, Emmaray, and I would like to know what your vision is for the future and what you would like to create with what your work and what you're doing.
Well, it's interesting because right now my trip over to the UK was step number one for me to be going out as a spiritual traveler and teaching on the go and setting up redreaming circles, teaching people about how to co-create, excuse me, with the realms. It's a very new way of living for me because it's really, I've kind of said to people, yes, I'm here in a physical body, but I'm mostly working on the higher realms as part of the team that was putting the divine blueprint together. But now that it's done and the job is to bring it in, now I'm getting to be more present with everybody on the earth in the body, which is a whole new experience for me. It's really been kind of fascinating. So now I'm in Oregon and I'm going, being called to go down to Southern California, and then I'll be traveling. But my vision is, because I know that paradise and Eden and Shambhala and the essence of these things is the truth. It is the Illumina truth. It is where the earth and this universe were always intended to be. And to some degree, we're experiencing that before the distortion got really, really went in full crank. And it's when we're in this state of unity and collaborating with one another, there is just constantly, we are in a state of thriving. All life is thriving. All of the things that we've seen in duality, the suffering, the struggling, the somebody has more than somebody else, none of that is real. It's all part of the illusion of duality. So what I'm seeing is all of that dissolving, which is occurring now, and everybody being back in their mastery, working tangibly with the realms. And what we do from there as creator beings is learn how to work with the divine alchemy, with energies, to create new and more incredible things than we ever have before. And this is our job as creator beings. This is who we are as the individualized essence of Mother, Father, God, or Creator, is to be informed, to learn, because God is learning through us. So we've been there, done that with the duality thing. There is nothing more to learn. Zero. And so now we are stepping out of that and going in and learning how to create and just use this incredible divine magic to create more and more beautiful worlds. And it can be whatever it is that you are choosing to experience, in the colors and the crystals and the water. And when you're thinking of painting a picture in the outer scape of the world, when you are in alignment, one of the main things that I teach people, remind people, is that when we are calling in what we are choosing to create, you always do it in alignment with the divine plan and cosmic law. So you're not just, again, shifting, forcing your will on to whatever by saying, oh, well, now I'm going to play at this level. No, it's all about divine integrity, divine right action. So in alignment with the divine plan and cosmic law, always. And so by doing that, setting the essence that that's what you're doing, we get to learn and create more amazing systems, more amazing life forms, and have these more brilliant experiences, teleporting everywhere and flying and etherealizing, precipitating food directly from source, and all these kinds of things. So we're not spending all of our time doing things to feed the body and how clothe the body and house the bodies and all these. Instead, we get to use our energies for these newer expansions of how to create worlds. The mighty Elohim, who are very advanced levels of the elemental kingdoms, created the universe. I mean, think of it. To be at that level of creation wisdom and abilities, that you're taking these blueprints of universes and bringing them into tangible form. And all of us are in training to do things at that level. So we get out of this goop that we've been in down here for way too long, take all of life with us back into harmony and unity. And then we get to play at this much higher cosmic level where all life thrives, all is love and harmony. And then we get to go out into the universe and share what we're learning with other civilizations in other parts of the multiverse. So it's very cool. I mean, it's all, people are like, oh, that's science fiction. It's like, no, not really. Science fiction was gleaned from these cosmic truths that have kind of come in as a hint and a reminder. But it's, if you can think it or dream it, then you can do it. It really is that. As a creator being, if you can think it and feel it and dream it, then you can create it. And that's why it's so incredibly important for us to be very aware of everything we think, say, feel, do, because as we do those things, we are creating them in the field. So I see the world as just, you can't put it in words. It's just brilliant. And all the magical, the unicorns and the dragons and the phoenixes and everybody's walking and playing and doing these incredible things together because it's really the truth. It's going to be fun. So anyways, yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't think I need to ask this question, but I will. Do you feel, Emmaray, that you're living in line with your soul purpose and you're working with your divine purpose?
Yes, for I have my moments where my light team gets to come in and go, Emmaray, you're being very human right at the moment. When I start going, oh God, because part of my journey right now is because of the levels that I have worked at for years. I haven't really connected with the money model very well. And so when I'm traveling, I get into this place of radical faith that everything, every step of the way is going to provide it for me. And in my heart, I'm like, can't I just precipitate it? Why do I have to do it this way? And they're like, no, you get to learn how to do it this way. And you get to really trust. So this is part of my, yes, I'm living my purpose. And I too am learning these radical lessons of how to let go and surrender and trust. And it's just like lots of deep breathing aloud. But it's, it's like we know that we have different people and other beings on the earth that we have agreed on this higher level to create with. And in order for them to grow and us to grow, we get to do this together. So we get to say, okay, that person's job is whatever, they're going to invite me to stay at their house or whatever's going to happen. And I get to just stay open to receiving that and allow it to come in and wait for the divine prompting to move forward and be very still and patient. And for somebody like me who's used to doing multidimensional big, to sit here in this body and wait for this next step to show up has been quite challenging for me, truly. And so that's my, yes, I'm on purpose. And yes, I'm getting to learn just like everybody else does, what it's like to really trust and be in this faith and let God show the way. So yeah, it's been pretty trippy for me, actually.
Oh, well, I can really relate to this, Emmaray, particularly around the money thing. I mean, I have the most wonderful life, but the money trust has always, has always been there. And I have to ask my guides, my spiritual guides, like, what is this about? And part of my journey has been learning how to be in a physical body and how to heal my past trauma and all this sort of stuff. You know, but also with the money. And I just think, well, if I had focused all my energy on money, I'd probably have a lot more. But actually, it
Yes.
doesn't interest me. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm more interested in, you know, plants and flowers and painting and people and love and music. You know, that is much more interesting to me than money, you know, in the bank. But I
Yeah.
guess this is one of our journeys, you know, that we learn what that's about.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. And for me, it's not so much the money in the bank. You know, I'm definitely one, the universe gives me money and I'm happily out spending it in the next minute. And, you know, I'm very good at recycling the money. Here, let me share, you know, and, but it is because I also hold the codes for the realms of the truth of us precipitating directly from the universal,
yeah,
the
yeah,
concept of having to have money in order to do something is really quite foreign to me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't want to, you know, I'm fine with it. I don't have anything against money, but I don't want to get stuck in that place because my job is to bring in this other level. So it's this really interesting cosmic dance for
Absolutely.
me.
And I wonder then, because we both have a connection with Venus, and
Yeah,
I incarnated through a portal in Venus. I'm not actually a Hathor,
too.
but I'm very connected to them, and the diamond rays of Venus and the Venus love. And I
Love it.
think that this thing around money is quite important for people who linked this, because my understanding is that we are moving through phases of Earth, of Gaia, and we're moving towards the Venus energy, like the Venus
Yes.
love ray.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a space where we won't have money as we know this now. It's just not going to be important or
Right.
relevant. And I'm definitely on board with that. You know, I don't. You know, I find it really hard to comprehend people who have loads of savings. You know, when there's people who have nothing, I'm like, let it all flow, let it all flow.
Yep,
You know,
exactly, exactly.
you know, so, and I think that's not, you know, it's a thing that we're learning about this time on the planet. But actually, the resonance is about where the planet's going, which is, you know, in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a series of books called, I am going to remember the name of it, the teachings of the masters of the Far East. I believe it's a 6-book series, and that was written way back at the turn of the 19th century. Of this experience of these scientists who went over, I'm not sure where they were, over in the India, Asia, back in there somewhere in the, and they were met with, and they were historians, and they went back to look at some of the old sacred scrolls and all these things, but they were met with these beings who are completely resurrected and do have these master energies, the master abilities, the way Jesus demonstrated when he resurrected,
Mhm.
you know, all of that. So they embodied that, and they demonstrated to this group of scientists over a period of 3 years all of the things that everybody can do in their resurrected unified God state, precipitating and etherealization and teleporting and materializing clothes and houses out of the universal. This is actually the truth of our being when we are fully resurrected and ascended. So it's just how the rest of the cosmos does things. So when we can really tap into that memory of, oh yeah, you know, and it's not about poverty consciousness, it's about aligning with doing it easier and not having all these steps, but at the same time being where we are in the moment and embracing that. And that's the piece that I'm getting to as part of my purpose. It's funny how that feels in my body sometimes. I'm just like, oh God, oh God, oh God. You know, I'm so good at so many things, and then there's this. You know?
So relate to you. And I wonder, I used to get very frustrated that things were so slow. you know, on the earth plane, like everything was so slow. You know, what's this manifestation so slow? But it's speeding up, and I'm
Yeah,
definitely seeing that,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah,
happening. And
yeah.
so maybe it's going to speed up to our kind of frequencies, Emmaray.
Oh, it certainly is. And you know, the last thing that I will really um, share about that is, again, for everyone, each and every day, to get very centered, calling in your alignment with harmony and your true self, and then make the choice. I am choosing the high road, the highest outcome for myself, for my life, through the pathway of joy and peace and harmony, in full alignment with the divine plan and cosmic law. And by doing that every day, and anytime you feel your energy dropping, to restate that, go higher, go reach up to the high bar and say, I am choosing, I am experiencing the high road through the pathway of joy. This is how we create these higher timeline constructs that we bring the entire planet up and align it. The more of us as creator beings who are making those statements each day, aligning with the highest outcome, then by our doing that, we are raising the entire consciousness of the earth up out of the discord into these higher timelines, strengthening them and allowing the ascension and the flip back into paradise to happen more quickly. Each of us have this absolutely powerful ability to make such a difference each day, simply by making that statement and adhering to it, and say, when my job is to stay away from low frequency, whatever, TV, music, thought forms, all of it has to stop. And we get to choose these higher outcomes of unity and harmony and creating through love and all of that. And as you realign and choose that each day, and the other stuff disappears, then the earth and our global outer expression will change in a blink of an eye. That's where that statement came from. It will happen in the blink of an eye. So the ascension of the earth and the resurrection of the earth is guaranteed. How quickly it happens is up to each and every person on the planet, and how we participate day to day, where we are putting our intention and our attention.
Yeah.
And that is what it's incredibly powerful and exciting for each of us. And we have that ability to make such a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such beautiful words. Thank you so much, Emmaray. And I want to know where our listeners can find you. What's your website and how can they connect with you?
Yeah, thank you. My website is called the Nature Whisperer.com, thenaturewhisperer.com. I do have a Telegram channel called the Nature Whisperer. It's in its infancy, but I will be putting more out there. The main thing is thenaturewhisperer.com, and you can contact me through email on the website. Also, I have my programs, videos. There's also a link to the Bless All Life Council website, which the videos that we do, the planetary work, is 2.5 hour clips. So it's a lot of stuff, but we have terrific programs that we share with people about how to do planetary work and demonstrate that. So it's very worthwhile if you feel called to learn how to do those things. And but yeah, so the naturewhisperer.com. I'm not on any other social media. I have decided not to play in that field for now. And
Wise.
yeah.
Well, very wise. And, you know, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom, because I feel that I've really been in the presence of mastery here, listening to you and understanding how you're working with all these different energies and dimensional complexities. So, and I hope our listeners really receive that as well from our conversation.
Well, thank you so much. And, you know, all that I am, everyone is truly, I am just a mirror of each individual. Each each person in a human body is a master waiting to remember itself. So, that's all. That's all. If you see that in me, it's because you know that it's in you.